Well, I think there is a lot of introspection, a lot of reflection on the new reality, and I think at the end of the day there is also a degree of cautious hope, I guess, which was probably missing last year, that maybe we are going to come out with a better world order out of this.
Okay, a better world order, but you talked about cautious hope, and you certainly talked about a new reality. What does new reality mean to you?
I think, the whole world economy has gone through a severe trauma. If you look at what's happened in the last couple of years, I mean, the world order has changed. People don't even know whether the economies have actually recovered or this is just a kind of comma in before we get the full stop. So I think what people are now saying, quite rightly, is, hey, let's sit back and evaluate where we are and what are some of the things that we mustn't repeat. What are the lessons that we've learned in terms of collectively as a world? And I think that's the discussion.
Do you think that in many ways the dependence or the excitement about India and China is something slightly overheated right now? Because remember, while we've had some fantastic times in the last 5 years, the next 5 do not promise that just yet, do they?
I think India and China are very much part and parcel of the future of the world, the future economies of the world. So I don't think that they are being kind of underplayed. The real thing, of course, is that emerging markets as a whole were pretty much the theme of what led the recovery in the world economy the last couple of years. The question is, can we sustain it? Because there are some clouds looming. There is, if you like, commodity costs. There is all these issues about inflation and so on and so forth.
I was going to ask you that. High inflation, what does it mean to a company like Hindustan Unilever or Unilever on a global scale? Because food inflation is up across the world.
I think inflation and commodity costs is something that hits everyone. The bad news is that we are beginning to see signs of that. The good news is that we saw a cycle like this a few years ago. So we have to learn to manage this dynamically, and that's really why we are all in business, I guess, because life is not going to follow a straight line anymore.
Okay, it's not going to follow a straight line. Now that actually takes me to the whole issue of governance, because India is right now buzz with all this stuff that we are talking India inclusive, but is there a governance deficit? Your friend Sunil Mittal just said that there possibly is a lot of negative energy in India. What do you feel about that?
Well, I think firstly we have to ask ourselves, do we really believe that we have this huge potential that we have in India? And I absolutely think there is full consensus that this is perhaps the biggest opportunity and India is poised. I think then we've got to ask ourselves, what are some...
Now or never?
Absolutely, it's a tipping point. And I think the question we have to ask ourselves collectively, that the non-negotiable has to be good governance. By the way, good governance is all about good governance of communities, societies and companies. And I think that's really what I think we have to all raise the game on that issue.
Raise the game. Harish Manwani, thanks so much for joining us here in Davos. Good to have you. Well, that's Harish Manwani there speaking to us, of course, on behalf of Unilever and what action is sort of playing out in terms of India and emerging markets like China. But I think everyone here in terms of India is pretty sure in terms of a consensus that there are